like to call this meeting to order. Clerk of the board, would you kindly call the roll?
Freeholder Carter.
Present.
Freeholder Estrada.
Present.
Freeholder Hudak. Freeholder Jallo.
Here.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Here.
Freeholder Mirabella. Freeholder Wright.
Present.
Vice Chairman Granados.
Here.
And Chairman Bergen.
Here.
Chairman, you have 7 freeholders present.
Thank you. Clerk of the board, please lead us in prayer and salute to the flag.
Humbly we ask God, the giver of peace and the lover of charity, to give the entire family of nations true agreement with his will, and to grant the light of his Spirit on all who work for justice and peace. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk of the board, kindly read the statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
The chair wishes to announce that pursuant to the requirements of New Jersey statutes annotated, Title 10, Chapter 4, Section 10 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union has been given by mailing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2017, along with periodic changes necessitated by circumstances, to the newspapers circulating within the County of Union who are designated to receive such notice, and by posting the annual meeting schedule for the year 2017 in the Administration Building, and further by filing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2017 with the Office of the County Clerk.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask everybody to please join me in a moment of silence for the victims in Charlottesville, Virginia, and in the tragedy that took place today in Barcelona. Thank you. Turning to our regular order of business, may I please have a motion to approve communication?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Freeholder Kowalski, seconded by Freeholder Carter. Clerk of the board, please call the roll.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Jallo.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Granados.
Yes.
Chairman Bergen.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 7 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you. Now I'd like to call upon Freeholders Wright, Kowalski, and Carter to make tonight's first presentation.
Good evening. Freeholders Wright and Carter and I are very pleased to be able to recognize Women's Equality Day, August 26th, this evening, and we'd like to call up Janice Lillian from the YWCA. Oh, sorry, and Jennifer. Sorry, yes, Jennifer, sorry, Breens. Thank you. Just a little bit about women's equality here in New Jersey. We all know women's equality. The women achieved the right to vote with the 19th Amendment. It was a long process. The women's suffrage movement, in many ways inspired by the abolitionist movement, which came earlier. Women did gain the right to vote, as well as, but we still have much work to do in gaining completely equal rights for women in all areas of life. So we recognize Women's Equality Day this year to once again emphasize the importance of this day in history and support the ongoing commitment of the people and community partnerships that have taken up the cause of women's equality in their missions. Before I turn the mic over to Freeholder Carter, I would like to just recognize that there have been many, many women in New Jersey, including the two who stand next to us here, But earlier, we had Alice Paul, we had from right in Union County, Lillian Fikert of Plainfield, one of the founders of the League of Women Voters. So we have a long history to be proud of, work to be done, and we will do it together. Freeholder Carter.
Thank you, Freeholder Kowalski. The YWCA of Union County opened in 1920 and has been serving the women, children, and families of Union County ever since. They have been empowering, they are committed to their dedicated of eliminating racism, empowering women, promoting peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. And since 1920, you have been doing that, and it's something that is so needed, especially in what's going on in our world today. So on behalf of the Union County, on behalf of Chairman Bruce Bergen, Vice Chairman Sergio Granados, myself and all of the colleagues, I'm going to tell you something, I applaud you and all, and thank you for the work that the YWCA of Union County has done. I also want to take an opportunity to thank you for the programs that you have partnered with the board throughout those years, and especially since I've been on the board, especially empowering women, because that's something with the support that we need, making sure that our rights that we fought so hard to get, that we make sure that we maintain and that we are on the same playing field with everyone.
Thank you. And so we have a resolution for you. And if you would like to make some remarks.
Thank you so much. I wanted to thank the freeholders for this honor, and not only the three women standing with me, and Jennifer, of course, but all of the Board of Chosen Freeholders, and Union County for being incredibly supportive. Freeholder Carter, you took what I was thinking of as my remarks, but we are nearly 100 years old, and in all that time, we've been really fighting for social justice. And our national mission is eliminating racism, empowering women, and promoting peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. And now more than ever, we see the need for our services and our efforts together to ensure that that day when there will be no longer racism and there will be no longer unempowered women. A friend asked me recently, will we ever see an end to violence against women in our lifetime? And I said, we're working on it every day, just one day at a time. So thank you for all your support, and please partner with us on all of our initiatives. Thank you.
Freeholder, don't go away. I'm going to take the unusual step and call the entire board up because we have a very special presentation to make tonight. Tonight we are honoring Frank Guzzo, who began his career in the county in 1975. And I'm not going to read the whole resolution because it goes through his much of his entire illustrious career, and there's just too much to read into the record. But I thought that maybe each of the freeholders might want to have an opportunity to make some remarks, so we'll start and work down.
I don't know why he started this way. Normally he goes to the right rather than the left. But that's fine. That's fine. You know, I've been a freeholder now for 18 years, and I can truly tell you that one of the first directors that I worked with was Frank Guzzo. Now, Frank is a gentleman that has always had similar type motivations in life as I have, excuse me, in terms of people who traditionally don't have a voice. That's what Frank is all about, ensuring that individuals who have needs in our community, and you see this, you know, we have gone through, at least in my last 18 years here, where we had the economy down to the floor and we had a high number of unemployment rates and people homeless, the foreclosure process and everything else. It's one of those things that I know that I truly, or the County of Union can truly count on Frank to ensure that, he's there helping us getting these projects done. Issues such as the homeless, and that's very special to me because Frank and I work very closely together for Code Blue, which became the first county in the country to actually establish Code Blue, which means that anybody who is out in the streets in the winter months, so when the temperature hits 32 degrees, the county's there through the help of the police and local law enforcement to pick up the individuals and make sure they get to a shelter. And after that, the next morning, is how we can help these individuals to ensure that this doesn't happen anymore. And that happens in reality here in Union County. There are many things that I can truly say about Frank, and you guys got about an hour for me, or no, I don't think so. But listen, if there's something or someone who's going to be missed is my buddy Frank. And I consider him a buddy because I call him, he's on speed dial. And tonight, I'm not going to roast you, Frank. I'm only going to say all the great things that you have done, and I'm sure my colleagues will be the same. And we're honored to have your children here as well, so we're holding back. All right, and let me just have Linda have something to say, because I'll say something in my last comments.
Thank you so much. I have to agree with you, Freeholder Estrada. You know, Frank has truly, over the 40 some odd years, okay, let me just leave it at 40. Over his span here at the county, has truly been a tremendous asset. When you look at individuals, and as a teacher, I tell my students, and you know, I teach business courses. In today's world, you're going to start your career, and you will probably have a 95% chance that you will not end that career with that first job that you start. So it's, you know, you're working, you might work 10 years, but they have so many opportunities ahead of them. But just like Frank has made a true career out of this and has done a job that I think he's touched every aspect in the county, continues to touch it. And you know what? I don't think that our youth are going to get that same type of experience. So you might be one in a lifetime at this point. What do you think? There's so many things that he has done, and since I've been on this board, I knew Frank even prior to coming on the board, doing things in the city of Plainfield, you know, and having had his mark in the things that he does and helping the community. It was so natural that, you know what, I knew just where to go when I get that phone call at, 2 o'clock in the morning. I could, okay, let me get back to you. And Frank would always answer or somehow get back to me to be able to help someone. So I thank you, Frank, for your knowledge, your expertise in helping me also, especially when I first got on this board. But I also want to take an opportunity to thank your family, because just like there's times when you've had to walk away from them to be able to help those residents here in the county, and you did it willingly. And they were the ones, that did not have you there. And it might have been a special moment, but truly, they knew that you were doing what you loved to do and things that you'll continue to do in the community. So thank you so much for what you've given, and thank you to your family.
Thank you, Linda. And I also expressed my appreciation to Frank. He has run the county's biggest department for a very long time, and those of us who have been out there through the night in Code Blue checking nights know that it's not just the legislators and the people up at these levels that know Frank, but the people who need help on the ground, they know you too, Frank. So and you're the only one who can fully explain the area plan. And we are going to miss you, but we wish you well with whatever you choose to do next, but we know that that we can always check in with you when we get stuck on something. So thanks, Frank, and best of luck with everything. Thanks also to your family.
Frank, when I began to come to this board and to be a member of this board, I heard so much about you, and I want to say to you tonight that I'd like to thank you for what you've done for the residents of Union County, and also for residents who are not in Union County, but you continue to do that. And I wish you much success and enjoy that freedom that you're getting so that you don't have to be at a certain place at a certain time in Union County. And again, thank you.
Freeholder Estrada said he wouldn't roast you, so I will. Somebody's got to do it, right? I say it shouldn't. It shouldn't go without mentioning that Mr. Guzzo, Director Guzzo, has been working at the county longer than 3 of us freeholders have been alive. So, kudos to you. Deserved and retirement is overdue, right? You know, I guess when the lights came on to this place, you turned them on, right? Right, that's how long. Too much? All right, I'll stop. No, but in all honesty, you know, you make us look good, and you know, it's been a joy being a freeholder, and our desire to help people and help the community, and get a phone call from a mayor or a resident or anyone when they need something done, when someone's in trouble. Who do you go to? You go to Frank Guzzo, and he gets it fixed, period. He says, I'll call you back, I'll handle it. You know, and that's the type of support that you need when you're in a position like this, right? Someone who actually gets the job done, you know? And this is no joke, but I'm sure that when he started, his department was not the size that it is now. I'm sure over years of attrition of a competent person running a department, he probably got, I'm sure that's the truth, right? Got more and more responsibilities. And, you know, I'm really, really sad to see you go, but I know it's time for you to. I'm gonna miss watching you, you know, your cool swagger and slow saunter up to the podium. One time I actually did an impersonation of him doing that. I'm not gonna do it for you here today, but it was really cool. It was really cool, and he really appreciated it. You know, his ability to answer any question that you have. I mean, you know, he knows, you know, he knows his stuff, and you know, knows everything about the county, and it's been a joy working with you. Thank you so much for all that you've taught me personally. You know, and I know we'll keep in touch. All right, cheers to you.
Frank, not only as the youngest freeholder, but also as the newest, you're somebody who I've relied on plenty of times. Best looking too, okay. I think Freeholder Giles' remarks on that one, best looking too. But you're somebody who I've relied on plenty of times, somebody who I've had lunches with, met up after work, somebody who I value truly, because you're somebody who truly embodies what somebody is when it comes to making sure you put others before yourself. You're somebody who's dedicated your whole entire life to making sure that the residents of Union County are always better off, and making sure that whatever services are needed to be provided to them, you made sure you found a way to make it happen. There's plenty of times when many others said it couldn't be done, and you found a way. And that's something that's going to be truly missed by the County of Union, missed by the Freeholder Board, and most importantly, missed by me. So thank you for your service, and you'll truly always be missed in our hearts.
Thank you, freeholders. Frank, come on up here. To someone who truly is what a public servant should be.
Don't worry, this is not long at all. So just a couple quick things. In 1975, I took a civil service exam and took a job. And I took a job up in Berkeley Heights at the old Reynolds Hospital, working as a children's supervisor. And I worked for a while in that, and I guess 3 or 4 or 5 years later, I did such a great job, I got called into the superintendent's office and said that I was going to receive a promotion. And they moved me from then working the 12 to 8 shift to the 4 to 12 shift with no weekends off. That began what was a pattern in my career in Union County, I think. That's not a complaint. That is something that I've always asked. County manager can attest to that. Anytime that there is a project or something that I thought I wanted to get my hands on or into, I willingly did it. I love what I do. I love it today with 2 weeks left. I will love it after I leave. You get touched by many people and things in your life. And things happen randomly, I think, at times. So I took a job in 1990 here in the administration building on a whim for then the county manager, who was Ann Barron. And I ended up working with her, and within 7 months she got called to be the acting county manager and left me sort of in charge of a department I really knew little about. But that's when the job turned into my life's work, because then I realized what the impact can be for the people that need us the most. And I'll say this, and I've always said this, in the Department of Human Services, in particular, as other departments do, this is why government exists. It exists to help people that need us. And I can stand, I've taken shots over things that have happened, I've gotten accolades, but it's never been about what I do. It's about the men and women that that are 800 in the department, that come in every day and do their job and care about the citizens in terms of what their needs are. I want to thank this board and the county manager for giving me the ability to just pick projects and do them. That's a rare thing. You've had the support, I've got your support, and I've always had your confidence. And you've listened. And I can say this because as Freeholder Jala said, I've been here forever. But understand, when I started, I was hired by Democrats. It then switched to all 9-0 Republicans. I worked every 3 to 6 years. It switched from control of Democrats to Republicans. Now, of course, we're all Democrats. There is one common thread that has worked through all of that, and that is any time people needed something in Union County and I came to the board, I got it. So there's a lesson here, and it's a lesson that perhaps higher governments should take today, on how people can work together for the common good. And that's what happens here all the time. My job has always been very simple, and it's been to give my staff the tools that they need to help people in the community. And they've always done that. You've always done that. And I can't thank you enough for all of that. Finally, you've got men and women department heads. I know what you do. You have to be a department head to understand how it affects you and the stress and everything you go through on a daily basis. They make it look easy, but it's not easy for any of them. And as you know, I've done it longer than anyone else. I guess that's probably it for me. The only thing I'm going to say, someone already stole my thunder, there's going to be someone that follows me. And my goal has always been to be a mentor and try to help them, but I can't do that because they're not here. But I can leave them leave a couple things, and finally answer a couple questions that I keep getting asked all the time. So number one, it was already said, the area plan means the area in Union County. So that's number one, because that gets asked a lot. The second question that gets asked quite a bit is, why do we have to match grants all the time? And so I'm going to answer that question. I know that Director Taylor's done it on occasion. I've tried. I'm going to do it one more time. If you take $100 and invest it in a bank and get $100 back, that's an investment. And everyone would like 100% return on their dollars. On a matching grant, if you have $100 and you get give $100 back, you now can invest that in human beings. That's why you match grants. So I hope that clears it up. I'm sure it won't, but I've done my best again. I've done my best again to try to make sure people understand it. So with that said, thank you all Thank you so much. I'm going to miss you all. It's the first time in 29 years of attending Freeholder meetings on Thursday nights that they've actually come to a public meeting and seen where their dad was every Thursday night for the last 2 years. My daughter Gabriella is in the back.
All right. Real quick. How are you? The next item on the agenda is an ordinance for adoption. Clerk of the Board, please read the ordinance by title.
Ordinance number 786-2017, a bond ordinance to amend the following bond ordinances previously adopted by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union, State of New Jersey. 1. Bond ordinance number 740-2012, adopted on September 13th, 2012, as previously amended by bond ordinance number 760-2014, adopted on October 9th, 2014. 2. Bond ordinance number 752-2013, adopted on August 22nd, 2013, as previously amended by bond ordinance number 760-2014, adopted on October 9th, 2014. And 3. Bond ordinance number 759-2014, adopted on September 11th, 2014.
Thank you. At this time, the meeting is open to the public for purposes of commenting on this pending ordinance only. That's ordinance number 786-2017. If you have any comments, please step forward, state your name, town of residence, and please remember the 5-minute time limit. Anyone wishing to address the board on this ordinance, please step forward.
Good evening, Chair Bergen, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Bruce Patterson Garwood. There was a lot of dry language. It looks like there's 3 bonds involved. What does this all mean? Is it, occasionally you close out bonds and whatever leftover money you put in the budget, I don't know if this is what it is, but what exactly are you doing with each one of these 3 bonds that are being amended? If somebody could explain this, thank you very much.
Thank you. Director Taylor, if you could briefly address that, thank you.
Through you, Chairman. The ordinance this evening essentially is a repurposing to add an additional purpose from what was originally contemplated. And it is essentially to add the construction and addition to the West Hall facility at the VOTEC, as well as to authorize renovations and district-wide improvements to their facilities at the VOTEC. This entire ordinance is only for the vocational technical school upon their request, and it is to, again, improve the facilities.
Thank you. Any other member of the public wishing to address this ordinance only, please step up. Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the meeting, and I'm going to ask Vice Chairman Granados, who is a member of the Fiscal Subcommittee, to please move the ordinance for final reading and adoption.
Move ordinance number 786-2017 for final reading. Authorize the clerk of the board to advertise the same in accordance with the law.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Freeholder Granados, seconded by Freeholder Carter. Clerk of the board, kindly call the roll.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Jallo.
Aye.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Granados.
Aye.
And Chairman Bergen.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 7 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you. We now move on to our second ordinance that's listed for final hearing and adoption. Clerk of the board, kindly read this ordinance by title.
Ordinance number 787-2017, a bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new, additional, or replacement equipment and machinery, new additional furnishings, new communication and signal systems equipment, new information technology and telecommunications equipment, and new automotive vehicles and a new fire engine, including original apparatus and equipment in, by, and for the County of Union, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $72,389,463 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate state grants and a contribution from Union County College, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Thank you. Before I open this up to the public, I'm just going to ask our CFO, Director Taylor, just to explain the breakdown on the total sum being approved here.
Absolutely. Through you, Chairman. This ordinance, again, is appropriating total project costs in the amount of $72,389,463. Of that amount, however, we do have grants that we are also appropriating to offset those project costs in the amount of $17,379,990. We are also appropriating trust fund grants in the amount of $1 million. The county college contribution for one of our parks projects in the amount of $2 million, as well as a down payment that we've raised in the current fund budget in the amount of $1,969,053, for a total debt to be authorized in the amount of $50,040,420. So this amount of debt is comparable to prior year's debts that we've authorized for projects.
Very good. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to open this up to the public for purposes of commenting on this pending ordinance only. That's ordinance 787-2017. If you wish to address the board on this ordinance, please step forward, state your name, township, municipality of residence, and please remember the 5-minute time limit. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address this pending ordinance?
Good evening, Chair Bergen, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson Garwood. I appreciate Director Taylor, at least for the clarifications, because $72 million is a big number. But she brings it based on the grants and such down to $50 million. And it's fairly true that that's the normal housekeeping bond every year that you do. But, you know, talking about $50 million, last year I think it was $54 million. And the years preceding that, they're around like 38 million to 44. So I mean, you know, we're climbing up on these bond costs, and like I said, it looks like it's 50 million, and you know, last year was 54. I guess a couple of questions here. It mentioned state grants. I'm just wondering, are they matching grants? Threw that out there. And Union County College, you know, she did mention that there was, I guess, a $2 million payment into this from the Union County College. I would assume that is part of what we were looking at earlier with the hearing that was preceding this meeting. I guess, you know, if somebody just could answer that.
That is, Mr. Chairman, that is correct.
That's correct? Okay. All right, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Director Taylor, can you address that issue of whether the state grants, whether we need to match those funds?
Through you, Chairman, the state aid grants for all of the DOT projects typically are not a match. They appropriate those funds, but we do have costs in excess of the grant.
Thank you. Any other member of the public who wishes to address the pending ordinance only?
Excuse me. Thank you.
Yeah, John Berry, Kenilworth. Just for clarification on these, where this money's coming from. I get $2 million from Union County College to build their field in Oak Ridge. $1 million is coming from, I assume, the Open Space Trust Fund. I don't know if there's any other one you have hanging around. And where specifically, I guess $17,379,990, I don't know, was state grants or something. What is that from? What part of the state, or where is from? Maybe I misheard. And the 1969053, where specifically is that coming from? That's it.
Director Taylor, maybe you could just run through that list quickly again that you gave us before, where those funds are coming from.
Through you, Chairman, first I need to correct the prior speaker. The $1 million that I referenced in the trust is not from the Open Space Trust. That's actually from the county clerk in order to offset some of her renovation projects in order to accommodate the growth in passport activity. With regard to the down payment that was referenced, the $1.9 million, that's in the current fund, and it's called the Capital Improvement Fund.
Very good. Thank you. Are there any other members of the public wishing to address the pending ordinance only? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the meeting and once again request that the Vice Chairman please move the ordinance for final reading and adoption.
On behalf of the Fiscal Subcommittee, I will move ordinance number 787-2017 for final reading and authorize the clerk of the board to advertise the same in accordance with the law.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Freeholder Granato, seconded by Freeholder Kowalski. Clerk of the board, kindly call the roll.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Jallo.
Aye.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Granados.
Aye.
And Chairman Bergen.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 7 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you. We now move on to our public comment portion having to do with pending resolutions only. I note that there are a number of people here who I presume wish to address the issue arising out of Roselle. Please note that there's no action on this week's agenda concerning that issue, so you cannot comment it at this time. We will have a second comment period after the resolutions, at which time you'll have ample time to address that issue. That being said, anyone who wishes to address any of the pending resolutions, please step forward, state your name, municipality of residence. Please let us know what resolution you are addressing, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Anyone interested, please step forward as to comments on the pending resolutions only.
Good evening to the chairman and to the board. I am looking at resolution number 2017-666, sponsored by Freeholder Vernell Wright. This is amending a
I'm
resolution.
sorry, could just give us your name and
Oh, I'm
your
sorry.
town
I'm
residence?
Kiana Lovett from Roselle.
Okay.
I'm looking at resolution number 2017-666, which is amending a resolution to award an additional $18,349 in Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative grant funding to Prevention Links Incorporated in Roselle. And this is for a new subcontract total not to exceed $117,800 as an approved allocation from the Juvenile Justice Commission to provide additional family engagement services based on the Juvenile Justice Commission points of continuum. What I would like to know is, how do you track the success of programs with the grants? What type of reporting is required in order for you to continue to grant these funds to a firm like Prevention Links? How do we know that Prevention Links is actually providing these services, and how do we know what services the residents need? I would actually like to see perhaps some type of survey or needs assessment be done with the residents. Maybe there is a survey that could go out to parents, because I'm a parent of children in Roselle, and I've never ever heard of any of this being offered by Prevention Links. And I have also had the fortune, I suppose, of attending some things that Prevention Links has sponsored for the community, and quite frankly, I have to say that Prevention Links is either misinformed or just does not care about the needs of parents, children, families in Roselle, because they have titles for workshops, and the titles go something like possibility parenting, like you're telling me that it's possible for me to be a parent, or are you telling me that it's possible for you to aid me in obtaining services so that I can successfully parent my child with assistance? Those types of things that are sometimes offered that are not necessarily the most effective for our community. I do think that we need to take a step back and look at exactly what we are awarding grant funding for, who it is affecting, who it's helping, who it's not helping, which is usually the majority of the case, and how we can possibly look at making it more effective for the community that it's supposed to benefit. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address pending resolutions?
Good evening, Chair Bergen, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson, Garwood. Page 3, number 632 at the top. The Borough of Garwood is getting something. I don't know what it is. I guess if somebody just could explain what it is, and I'll start with saying thank you very much for whatever it is. The sad part is, about 5 years ago, you guys gave Garwood a fire truck, and everybody was all excited about that until they said, well, let's take a look to see what repairs, and it was like tens of thousands of dollars of repairs. And so that was it. That fire truck went right out the door. So hopefully you're giving us at least some good equipment, but I'd like to hear what it is. On page 4, number 640, 641, 642. This is a lot of money for the Union County Justice Complex renovations. It looks like it must be an ongoing project. That's the jail, obviously. I'm just wondering. I guess for 641, Netta Architects is getting $70,000. Architectural engineering services, but just somebody could explain what that's about, because as you know, I always talk about donations, and Netta gives the freeholders and the cronies $77,000 in the last 4 years. So, and Pravco's getting 50% more on his. Is it 50%? No, it's about 25% more for the elevator 1 and 2, and that's a big number, $621,000. Somebody could explain why it's that much. Also, 643, right below that, Eagle Building Services, $100,000 for 24 months of window cleaning. I don't know if Director Graziano's here, but DPWs, they don't do windows? Is that what their contract says? 649 on the next page, 5. It's about $112,000. It's planting trees and at the golf courses. I guess the question is, doesn't the DPW plant trees either? That's another thing maybe not in their contract. Page 7 at the bottom, young lady, Ms. Love mentioned about 666, and she brings up a point about accountability, and for many years, that's always that niggling thing that, somehow there doesn't seem to be a lot of accountability at the county. Other people obviously notice it too. Page 8, 672. Yeah, this is Cumming Construction. They're getting they're getting an additional amount, $600,000 for a contract amount of 1.2. That's a 50% increase. Last week they did explain that whatever the project is went from 12,000 square feet to 20,000 square feet. That blows my mind. How could something like that also increase that size? And not have something that obviously was a major mistake. Somebody better clear that up. Just like the family courthouse also went from something like 20,000 to 40,000 square feet. It was amazing. Okay. Number 685, page 10, $54,000 for a Chevrolet Tahoe, $54,000. Boy, I wish we could all afford that. But anyway, who's that going to be for, by the way? Could somebody explain who's that for? Page 11, 696, 697, 698, 699, 700. These are all like going to law firms for whatever Union County gets sued about. But all these firms, they're donating to the freeholders and their cronies. LaCourt Bundy donates $21,000 in 4 years to you guys. Bauch, Zucker, Hatfield, $43,000. Here's Palumbo Renaud, $39,000 in 4 years. They all donate to you, and you seem to turn around and give them all these thousands and thousands of dollars. It's just questionable. Pay to play. I always bring up pay to play. Something should be done. Page 12, 702. Again, collective bargaining agreement with the IBEW. This is my normal question. If somebody could explain what the health benefits are in this collective bargaining agreement that they receive, and not just, it's the same health benefits or something like that. I know that's Mike, that'd probably be the answer. And I don't know if I have any questions to get Frank Guzzo up here, but, I'll talk. I don't think I asked anything, but okay. Always good to hear about, Frank. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. On your last question, 702, the answer is the same. Our medical benefits to the unions, we've discussed it before. We have a standard package that we negotiate with our unions, and this one is no different. 685, Director Yuska, I guess the question was, is this, what's this vehicle going to be used for? Or Director Moran?
That vehicle will be used by the Union County Police Department.
Thank you. 672, Director Zuber. I guess the question was why or Deputy Director, if you want to just explain again why the project got larger.
Sure. Through you, Mr. Chairman, when we initially decided to build the clubhouse at Ashbrook, we were going to utilize the facilities, keep some of the facilities that we had, which were primary cart storage, but obviously we decided to move all of the facilities into one building, which the cart storage building alone is, the room is about 4,000 to 5,000 square feet. So that added on, as well as the main dining room area. We wanted to have the capacity to be able to have some smaller events at the facility, so we could hold at least 80 to 100 people. Those are the two primary areas where the building grew.
Thank you. 649, Director Graziano, I guess the question was, do we ever plant trees in-house?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Every year we go out to bid for trees. through the Parks Department, also through Public Works Department, and these are for the ones that line the streets. We'll go around and we'll find trees that are missing in the areas, and we'll see if we can plant them. And no, the Public Works Department doesn't plant these trees, but we do plant other trees on our own. If there's other questions regarding the windows, if you'd like me to answer those questions too, we do not do windows. We have over 2 million square foot of office space, which we have a lot of windows through all of our buildings, and there's a bunch of new ones that were added to this bid as well.
Thank you. And then on the increase to the jail project, if you could just explain.
These are the
that.
last two elevators. When this job had started, I guess around 7 or 8 years ago, these elevators were not in need to be repaired. These are the 2 passenger elevators that are left. There's 5 elevators total in the jail. The 3 have already been done, and these are the last 2 to be done. These are for the inmate visitors, attorneys, and also for the public. And Netta Architects, Pinnacle, and Pravco, who's the contractor. This is all 3 are all tied to the same thing. We have a new design. The construction manager now is on site for another 4 months. So these are all the extensions to get to that number.
Thank you. And am I correct, by doing this job as an add-on to this job, it's actually cheaper
Yes.
than if we were to do it as a separate job?
Yes, we looked at going out to bid separately for this job. Since it was kept under the 20% threshold that we have to for change orders, we saved probably about $200,000 by just keeping it in-house. Keeping it with this contract.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Chairman.
And finally, Director Moran, on number 632, could you just say what equipment we've given to Garwood as surplus?
Through you, Chairman, these are self-contained breathing apparatus, ACBAs, SCBAs, that were used by our hazmat unit. They will be used by the Garwood Fire Department.
Very good. Thank you, Director. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to address pending resolutions before the body? Seeing none, then I would call for a motion to approve, I don't have it, or resolutions 631 through 718.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Freeholder Carter, seconded by Freeholder Kowalski. Clerk of the Board, please call the roll.
Freeholder Carter,
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada,
Yes with a no on 690 to 17610.
Freeholder Estrada, can you repeat that?
Yes. Yes on all except for 217690, and no for that one.
Freeholder Jallo,
Aye.
Freeholder Kowalski,
Yes.
Freeholder Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Granados,
Aye.
and Chairman Bergen.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 7 votes in the affirmative, with the exception of the one resolution, 2017-690, where you have 6 freeholders voting in the affirmative, with 1 in the negative.
Thank you. We now come to the portion of the meeting where we are open for purposes of the public commenting on any governmental issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern to the residents of the county. Once again, please give your name, town of residence, and adhere to the 5-minute time limit. And before we begin this section, I just do want to make a quick comment again on the issue that I think many of you are here on concerning the project in Roselle. I do want to state for the public that there was a recent correspondence to the mayors of the municipalities in the County of Union, which had incorrect information, which told them that the taxpayers of the County of Union in general could become responsible for this project. I have sent a letter to all of the mayors correcting this and indicating to them that it is extremely unlikely that that would happen, and that the circumstances that would cause that have never, in fact, ever happened in the state of New Jersey. So though I know many of you are interested in this, I think that misinformation going out was needed to be corrected. Concerning any comments that are made tonight, as many of you may know, the county is currently under the threat of litigation concerning this issue. In light of that, at the advice of counsel, the freeholders will not be able to comment or respond to any questions concerning this issue. We're certainly happy to have you all here. We very much do want to hear your comments. Please do not take it as rude if we do not respond, but that is under the advice of counsel. As I have done previously on issues where there is a large crowd, I would ask you to please try and keep your remarks succinct and to the point so that we can hear from everyone as quickly as possible. Please try not to be repetitive, but everybody will have an opportunity to speak if they wish. But please do remember the 5-minute time limit. Mayor, please proceed.
Chairman,
I'm sorry.
If I may,
Freeholder.
due to my involvement in this matter, which no doubt many residents will be speaking on, and upon advice of counsel, I will recuse myself from the public portion too.
Thank you. Thank you, Freeholder. I did forget about that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Okay. Now, Mayor, please.
Thank you. Okay. Good evening, Chairman Bergen and freeholders. As you know, I'm Mayor Dansereau from the wonderful, proactive borough of Roselle. I am here to share some concerns that I, my colleagues, and the fellow citizens you see behind me here tonight on both sides of the room have regarding the cost of the Mind and Body project that you will be voting on in a related guaranteed bond matter in support of the project. First, let me thank you for your service to the municipalities, including Roselle. Your hard work and well thought out initiatives are respected and appreciated. Chairman Bergen, as you stated in your recent letter to me, I completely concur with you that at the request of the Borough of Roselle and the UCIA, the county agreed to guarantee the sale of the bonds for this project. You further discussed that the county has a AAA rating by Moody's, the highest rating possible, and a testimony of the county's strong, improved financial position, reflecting sound management and budgeting practices. I'm sure you're very proud of this. Initially, when the Mind and Body project was presented to myself and mostly a different council by our former mayor and financial experts, I was an advocate. I testified before the Finance Board to the need for an early childhood school, an updated 21st century library with a focus on the needs of our diverse community, and recreation center that would provide our young people and their families with increased recreation opportunities. It looked like the perfect fit, except that the economy took a nosedive, and Roselle was hard hit. What was supposed to be an affordable project based on the economy and cost at the time morphed into a $59 million gas-guzzling project. Roselle citizens were misled into believing that the increase of the homeowner taxes would only amount to $149 a year, and the rest would be handled by a stream of revenue from taking our garbage in-house and providing a savings of $1.2 million. This, of course, never happened, and it was nothing but a bedtime story. However, where one door closes, sometimes another door opens. So the hope was that our new developments would provide the tax relief through the leasing years, and some of this is true, but not enough to help stabilize our overburdened taxpayers from being forced to leave their homes because of soaring taxes. We currently have an average income in Roselle of $43,000 a year, 1,600 homes in various states of foreclosure, 400 abandoned homes. I tried to bring this reality to those who I thought would understand that we either had to consider scaling back or delaying part of the project. You need to have rational leaders willing to sit at the table and rethink another way when the obvious is apparent that Roselle is in over its head with this project because it was never well thought out, nor was the changing fiscal situation of our residents because of the recession ever a consideration. It is the responsibility of elected officials to do their due diligence and sometimes rethink their decisions and to discuss alternatives that will be as it relates to sound management and budgeting practices so discussed in your letter to me and the way the county freeholders operate when making decisions on behalf of the communities they represent. You spoke of the money that will be saved as a result of the county's guarantee. That guarantee will save Roselle approximately $1,500,000 over the life of a 30-year lease agreement, which will be a total at this time of $110 million, as outlined in the Torcon assessment done to apprise you and the UCIA of the risks and overall cost of this project and to our citizens. The increased taxes to the homeowner will be, according to them, most recently $523 a household, with an additional $164 if we do not pay down an additional $11 million in notes within the next 5 to 6 years. This, of course, does not include the cost of operation, which has not been planned for as yet. Voters count on us to do the right thing. I ask you to allow us to rethink this project and start working on an improved, fiscally responsible plan, given the circumstances we find ourselves in. You can help by voting the guarantee bond down, so we have time to do this. Once you vote, yes, it will proceed without concern for the things I have shared with you tonight, and others will share as well. I would respectfully welcome your thoughts and recommendations in the future. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Other members, please feel free to step forward.
Anthony Esposito, 414 East 3rd Avenue, Roselle, New Jersey. I came before this board 2 months ago and explained to you the plight of the citizens of Roselle, and the mayor outlined what they were. And I was hoping that you would take a look at that and consider this dire situation that our people are in. In 2011, this project was first proposed to the Board of Education as a joint venture between the Board of Education and the Roselle Borough. At that point, the cost was stated as $35,000, and the Board of Education would own the building at the end of the contracts. Today, the project is $53 million, not to exceed $59 million, and these are the bonds that you're looking to guarantee through the Union County Improvement Authority. This has been a very, very complicated lease agreements, multiple resolutions, multiple ordinances, and through the whole thing, the people of Roselle have not had a single voice in this project. No voice. Everything was complicated. It's a three-way between UCIA, Roselle Board of Education, and the Borough of Roselle. The agreements were approved. An RFQ was put out in early December, I forget what year. But by December 20th, the RFQ closed. And there was only one contractor who submitted a project to be the developer on this project. One. The name of the company is AST. The owner of which makes donations. This company, only one, UCIA quickly approved it, and they are now the developers. Just happened to be the broker for AST was no other than George Devaney. Okay? I have a problem with that. Also, all of the documents that have been created, there's multiple defects and risks when you actually read those documents. I found one error. I brought it to your attention last week. The whole thing was based on a lease that was expired. And another problem is that for the Board of Education side, if the Board of Education is to go into a lease agreement longer than 1 year, according to 18A 20-4.2 Section D, it clearly states that that Board of Education needs to get approval from the local finance board and the Commissioner of Education clearly stated 18A 20-4.2D. And there is a possibility that Roselle could default on these lease payments because it was written into the lease agreements what happens in case of default. So there is a possibility of default. Now, my request to you is not to guarantee these bonds. What I want to see, the people have not had a voice. If the Roselle Board of Education wants to build buildings, do a bond referendum. If they do a bond referendum, 40% of the debt service is paid by the state. 40%, because we're in a poverty level. We're supposed to live in a democracy. That's what we're told all the time. Stop the guarantee. Let the people
Thank
have
you,
a
Mr.
referendum
Esposito.
on the issue
Your time is up.
through Roselle. Thank you.
Thank you for your
very much,
comments.
Chairman.
Good evening. My name is Denise Wilkerson from Roselle, New Jersey. Good evening, Chairman Bergen, Vice Chair, Freeholders, Council, and County Manager. Before I get into my prepared comments, I just want to say that it was a true honor to witness you guys appreciate Director Frank Guzzo and to hear his comments about how he relied on you to take care of the people. And, you know, that is the spirit in which we come to you today, is to ask for the help that we know that you are accustomed to doing according to Frank Guzzo, and I just want you to know that that's really the angle in which we're coming from. We're asking for help. Firstly, I would like to thank you for doing the right thing last week by choosing to cancel the special meeting and halting any vote on items related to the Mind and Body project, especially when the foundation of this project, which is the land lease between the Board of Education and the Borough of Roselle, was actually null and void. And I think we can both agree that the sloppy paperwork on a deal of this size and with this impact on residents is frustrating for us all. Secondly, I would like to share with you our feelings about the Mind and Body, and I ask Roselle residents to just stand silently, please, out of respect, to stand. The Roselle Mind and Body complex will have a major impact on the taxes of Roselle residents. We all know that the $59 million bond with principal and interest will cost Roselle residents over $100 million over the life of the bond. And that $100 million does not include the cost to furnish it, to run it, to insure it, and to operate it. Let me share with you the minimum impact on Roselle residents whose homes are assessed at $140,000. In 2020, which is only 3 years away, residents will see at least $533.11 on a tax increase. 10 years from now, which I have a great interest in because I have a new granddaughter. 2027, she's cute. The total impact will be $607.44. 2013, $660.53. And in 2038, it is going to be $737.81, and that will continue to grow year over year. And the reason that will continue to grow year over year because this loan is kind of like a balloon loan when you think about mortgages. And you'll see in 2020, in fact, I'll back up, in 2019, our payment back on this with principal and interest will be $2.9 million. And then in 2023, it'll jump to $3.1 million, 2027, $3.3 million, 2032, $3.6 million, and in 2039, it will be $4 million. That is too much for the residents of Roselle to bear. Again, this cost that we just read out has a huge impact on residents. And this $100 million does not include costs that we know we will have to incur in order to get this project or this facility up and running. It does not, again, include the cost to furnish it, to insure it, to staff it, and to run it. And Roselle residents will have to pay to use it on top of paying the hefty price just to build it. Roselle residents simply cannot afford this. We are struggling to pay our high taxes, and we are in the middle of a foreclosure crisis. We have to restate that because it really is real. We have 1,600 homes in some state of foreclosure, and 450 homes are abandoned. I want you to know that we come today, and we're standing here in solidarity, and we're coming in the spirit of Frank Guzzo's legacy here of helping the people in the community. We humbly ask that you do not rush and push this project through. Let the Roselle Council, who said last night that they would be willing to brainstorm on ideas, give them an opportunity to work with the borough to rethink their approach. Give us residents an opportunity to stay in our homes. Thank you, and we appreciate your consideration.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else, please step forward.
Good evening, Chairman, Freeholder Board. I'd like to bring you a ground level view and a bird's eye view and a personal view on what's going on in Roselle. My name is Sylvia Turnage. My family has been in Roselle since 1962. We are 4 generations in Roselle. I have owned 3 houses in Roselle. My children and my grandchildren attend Roselle Public Schools. I am a former council person in Roselle. I have an unparalleled passion for all that is Roselle. I think that I'm well qualified to speak on the behalf of the town that I love. Roselle is a municipality, and a municipality is the most basic of a corporation. Instead of Roselle being run like a business entity, Roselle is run like an organized crime enterprise. 99.9% of our top administration in Roselle do not live in town. Roselle is supposed to be a civil service town, which means hire from within the town. Not so, and with no real vested interest, these employees are merely political hacks. The lawyer for the town and the Roselle Board of Education lawyer are from the same law firm. This is a blatant conflict of interest in itself. To minimize the scrutiny, the lawyer for the town was hired full-time as the borough attorney for over $100,000 a year, and I think she comes to work on Thursdays, if I'm not mistaken. Our borough clerk, I'm sure you heard about that. Our borough clerk has been out on paid administrative leave for 5 years while she has sat at home and collected over $500,000 in benefits and longevity. Why in 5 years' time was she not fired for whatever infraction she was accused of? Because allegedly she has damning information on our former mayor, now the assemblyman, that could put folks in a very compromising position. Should the taxpayers suffer for this? Many of them are losing their homes because they cannot afford the taxes. We have multiple developers that have come into Roselle and have essentially raped the town. They were given parcels of land for almost for free, the land that Roselle homeowners were rejected from purchasing themselves. Laws were changed and master plans were revised to benefit these developers. Lots that were deemed unbuildable suddenly had 2 and 3 tiny pop-up houses with no side yard or no backyard. I encourage you to come to Roselle and ride around and take a look at our new development. A massive housing project has been built and has been given tax abatements that will outlive us all. The redevelopment project on St. George's Avenue, how does Roselle benefit? We spend $2 million to clean up the property just to hand it over to a developer for pennies, build a Wawa and a Huddle House. These businesses got huge tax abatements. The Huddle House alone will be paying $4,200 $274 in taxes, and that's contingent upon their sales. If they don't sell, it may actually be less. That's per year. Do you know we have homeowners in Roselle paying upwards of $15,000 for a single-family home? This is no different with the mind and body complex deal. As you are finding the paper trail so messy, so are we. The common denominator in most of these shady deals is the same developers, consulting firm, and assemblyman. I caution you to examine your relationships and the conflicts that you may have with some of these individuals. Are you good friends? Have you vacationed together? Have you accepted tickets to baseball games and other sporting events? Accepted other little gifts and trinkets? Campaign contributions, perhaps? Because our dear Senator Menendez thought he did nothing wrong as well. Do not expose yourself and your families to the potential liabilities in the name of friendships. Roselle residents are mad. We have 59 million reasons to be mad, and we have nothing else to lose. I have been threatened by those who seek to silence me. I have had bricks thrown through my windows at 4 a.m. while my family slept. I have been subjected to every dirty political...
Thank you. I'm sorry your time is up. Thank you for your comments.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and to the board. My name is Kiana Lovett, resident of Roselle. And as I stood in solidarity with my neighbors from Roselle, with my mayor, and as I listened to Ms. Turnage, I'm standing before you with tears in my eyes because you've probably heard a lot of stories about people who could potentially lose their homes in Roselle. Well, I stand before you as the person who has lost her home in Roselle because taxes were already unbearable before this began. Because taxes still continued to rise and were unbearable without this burden on individual homeowners and even renters, because if you rent in Roselle, you pay rent so that owner can pay taxes in Roselle. So what I stand before you to ask you is to do what you were elected to do. We elected you because we believed in you, because we thought that we lived in a democracy that was of the people, for the people, and by the people. There's no way that you should be able to look at yourselves or each other knowing that you have wronged the people. What the people are in need of is a fiscally sound plan. We're not saying that we don't want a new school. We absolutely do. We've wanted it for years. But the council in Roselle should have had enough sense to work with the Board of Education to put it to a bond referendum. When you were approached to back this, to allow the UCIA to fund this, all due diligence should have gone into putting this together. No one should have been allowed to pass you some papers or notes or send an email or a text message or sit across from you at coffee and say, let's do this, without you knowing exactly what you were getting yourselves, the borough of Roselle, and this county into. It's not fair for me to continue to struggle with my children because you decided that you wanted to make somebody live up to what they think is their legacy because you wanted to help someone. We've all done things with good intentions, but we know that the road to hell is paved with them. So what I'm asking you to do is put your good intentions aside and use some common sense and understand that what people think we need and what we want are two totally different things. The people in Roselle know that we need a school. We know that we need a bigger library because it's bursting at the seams. But I ask you, how can we even fund a bigger library when the budget has been cut for the small one that's already there? So you want us to do more with less, and we're supposed to be okay? Because who has to pay for that? I do. My children do. My neighbors do. The struggling mom and pop shops in my borough do. If all paperwork is not complete, if all paperwork is not clear, there is no way that you should feel okay guaranteeing such a deal. Every piece of paperwork needs to be put in line in succession, and it needs to be laid out plainly and clearly and fully understood by each of you before you say yes to anything for this project. Yes, we want a recreation center, but you know what? We already have one right in Warnaco. It's a couple of blocks away from where they want to put this one. We're good to do with just a school and a library. It's more fiscally sound. It makes more common sense. It's for the most benefit of the people of Roselle. I don't have to get up here and call names, but all I want to do is to have you all understand that it's not about favorites, it's not about friendship, it's not about burying anybody or tarnishing their reputation. But I want you to think about truth, justice, and equality. There's a lot going on in this country right now that gives us all pause and makes us want to think about the decisions that we make on a daily basis and what they say to the people. Roselle is a minority borough. Yes, we are in poverty because I live it every day. Don't let anyone tell you any different. So I'm asking you to think twice and make sure that it's tight and right before you even say yes or consider it for this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening, Chairman, Councilman, Freeholders. Cynthia Johnson, Roselle, New Jersey. I come here today as an advocate for our seniors in Roselle in reference to this project that I'm asking not to go forward. I live on a street where there's seniors. They've came to me, they've cried to me, and said to me, how can I afford this when I'm living on a fixed income? My children are gone, my grandchildren are gone. I'm here living off an allotted income from Social Security. How can I afford this? I say to them, I will be a voice for you to try to see if this project will stop. I myself is a taxpayer with my husband. I just received a tax increase in our borough of Roselle. I asked myself, wow, can I afford this? Can my family afford this? And can others that's not or do not have the opportunity to stay in their houses can afford this? I say, yes, I can afford this, thanks to my great husband. But I also say those that cannot afford it, those that are losing their houses, where do they go? Where do they go? You ask in this a recording studio. A recording studio for what? Allocate a school for our young children. Allocate a high school that have not set the purpose of those that's in there now. If we're going to do anything for our borough, let's do it together. Let's collaborate on how this project can benefit everyone and not run those out of their homes. I thank you very much and have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Maria Hagener, Roselle, New Jersey. I would like to ask the body to please give my 5 minutes to former Councilwoman Sylvia Turnage to finish what she had to say. Thank you.
I'm sorry, that's against our rules. Someone cannot speak a second time. I'm sorry.
I can't give my time to her?
No, I'm sorry, you cannot.
Okay, then I'll give you my time then. Okay? I don't know who's worse, hers or mine. I was here last month and I expressed my concerns about this whole project. As a PTO mom for 25 years, I'm going to repeat what I said, and I have some other things that I have to say in addition to what I said last month, that over the years I've had, worse conditions in the school system. We have 84% of our school children free or reduced lunch. We have mothers coming home from work after working long hours and picking up their children at daycare, and from right after school at daycare at 6, 7 o'clock at night, and finding the furniture of their home out on the curb because they just lost their home. They're holding on to grace of God for a solution, even though they knew that they hadn't come up with their payments on time. And this is what they had. We get phone calls from parents sleeping in their cars over the weekend to try to find a room for their 3 children because they were thrown out because they didn't have enough money to pay the roof over their head, whether it be rent or taxes. Because we all know even renters are going to get the brunt of this because their rent is going to be increased. We have council people not thinking of what the people are able to afford. We have 30-year tax abatements for businesses that are coming into town, which we will not profit, if any. We have a 932 unit at our old golf course that has a 30-year tax abatement, and it's on their first stage. What are we going to do with those children? It's not to say that we all want a community center, we all want a school for our children and for our grandchildren. We want, you know, the community to flourish. But if we can't afford it, and if we cannot afford a roof over our head, how in the world is this community center even going to have anyone in there? We have children not knowing if their parents are even going to be able to even attend the next school year. We have increase in property taxes as of this 2017, over $200 to each homeowner. How are we going to afford $520? And that's not even including the operational costs. I have a 99-year-old grandmother, great-grandmother across the street right now paying $14,000 a year. What is she going to be paying 2 years from now, 3 years from now? And I got to say, if she even makes it, it's unfortunate. And then we all know that at that age, she probably retired 35, 40 years ago. What is she getting, $1,000 a month in Social Security? Without any pension? We have to, you know, think about this. This is ridiculous. We have a couple of people up there that have control and think that they want to tell the people what to do. Well, we want to tell the people that have control what we want them to do. Because don't come knocking at our doors come election time and think that we're going to be voting for you. And that goes across the board. That goes across the board. Local, state, everything. We will remember who voted for and against this project. And like I said, it's a threat, and it's going to be a real problem in Roselle, and that threat will come to fruition. I can guarantee you that. As long as I'm here, I will make sure that we will do the right thing. I'm 54 years old. I don't need to be thrown out of my house for ridiculous and unreasonable, you know, accountability. It's ridiculous. So please, I'm asking you, please put this project aside until finally somebody comes with
Thank you. Time is up. Thank you for your comments.
Good evening. Arcane Jansman from Roselle, New Jersey. I just wanted to thank the Freeholder Board for your hard work. I understand what it means to be a public servant. And also, I just wanted to remind everyone on the dais just that the fact is the people in the audience are not your enemies. They're actually people who have supported you over the duration of your career, people who have voted and walked with you door to door. And I think it's always important that you take in consideration your audience. And what I see is just people who are literally have spent their lives believing in some of the ideals that you have put out there about standing with the people of Union County. And I think like when people are coming to this mic, there's no money tonight. There's no chips and dips for us to come here. I think people have legitimate concerns. And they're appealing to you not just as a freeholder, but as a champion that you've presented yourself with over the years.
You have some of the best literature in the entire state. We see them. They come to our house. They have your pictures. They have your sleeves rolled up. But I want to also say that I understand what it means to be in your shoes. I'm the school board member at Roselle. I've been on the board for 6 years. And not only that, I've served as president of the school board. And I would say this is the most secretive project that I've ever seen ever since I've been a board member. There's been no community input on whether they want this project or not. As president, I've always requested information on the finances, and I've received none. And I was the one that was deceived. I was the one that was a champion of this project 6 years ago, because I believe it was the right thing to do. But when you see how the numbers are just not adding up, and everybody's having to tighten up their buckles, people are literally away from their families today just to be here, even though you're not voting on it. Just means that this is serious to us. And all of you, like Frank, have a legacy that you're trying to leave. And I want you to really think about that legacy that you're leaving, because you're young and we want to see you aspire to be greater leaders, senators, and run for president, and run different organizations. But we will remember if you double talk. Because if the people are saying they don't want this project, then why is it even moving? And I know these are tough decisions, trust me. I get anxiety sometimes when it's time for me to vote. I get headaches, and sometimes I roll over at night. I'll talk about myself, but at the end of the day, I have to go to sleep. And I have to answer to somebody that's greater than me. And so today, I'm not just talking as a board member, not just talking as a citizen, not just talking as a servant. I'm talking to you as a human being, because we see the people who are struggling. And my mom just retired. I'm having to take care of my family members. I'm trying to take care of my nieces. My brother just lost his job. And my whole family's having to crowd around to support him. And if I love my town and I want to stay in my town, how are we going to be able to afford it? So I just want you to sincerely think about this decision that you're going to make. Think about it hard. And you know, I'll walk doors with you. I'll support you to the end. But this one, this is an issue. We'll talk about other things down the line. We could talk about sanctuary. We could talk about all this stuff. But this issue for Roselle is an issue that the people do not want. So again, I thank you for your hard work. I thank you for your commitment. But more importantly, I really want you to think about the legacy that you're leaving. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I've never done this before. I'm Chris Fisher. I live on Drake Avenue in Roselle. And I will come back to the mind and body, but my comments are really that with all the homes that are abandoned in foreclosure in Roselle, the development at the former golf course, along with the tax abatement it received, is an insult to the residents of Roselle, who have to pick up the tab for the increase in property taxes that we're going to have. Now, we pay, and this has been an issue my husband and I talk about a lot, we pay a lot of money in open space dollars. I never see that money translating into anything in this Roselle, Elizabeth, Linden area. It seems to go to the wealthier neighborhoods out on the outskirts of Union County. We could have very well taken that golf course and made it open space. Okay, have you ever been to Warnenko Park on a weekend? It's standing room only. Okay, the fields, the picnic areas are getting worn out. We could have put another facility like that in on the other side of town that would have decreased the burden on Warnenko Park. Okay, when they made this, I'm sorry, I'm short. When they, when they made this project, was any consideration given for the residents, the schools, the infrastructure. I teach at the high school in Roselle. On top of the students that we're getting coming in as refugees, which they haven't provided any facilities for as far as translators, we're expecting a huge influx of kids coming in out of this development over here. Because we know very well that even if it's a one-bedroom apartment, we have many families in town living in a one-bedroom apartment with 3 or 4 children. Okay? Now, when they decided to build this rec center, the Mind and Body Center, this is a small lot in a highly residential area. Was anybody surveyed to feel how they would have this in their backyard? I do not live that close to it. I'm close, but not that close to it. But on the Joette, these people are literally going to look out their window at a huge brick wall. And any noise that comes out of that complex is now going to be part of their everyday living in their backyards. Okay? They purchased land next to the library a long time ago, tore down the house. That lot's been sitting there empty for years. Okay? They have done nothing with it. Okay? And the burden of the taxes is going to be ridiculous for this. Okay? And we're going to be paying the equivalent of a membership fee and then have the nerve to have them charge us a membership fee on top of it. Okay, this is ridiculous. And first of all, I don't understand why we need a swimming pool. That's very expensive. There was a swimming pool over at the golf course. Why didn't they just renovate that and use that as a community swimming pool? Okay, no, they just bulldozed it instead. You know, and this seems to be going on in this town. I'm sorry, I have lived in Roselle most of my life, and I just am disgusted by what I see. And I know I'm getting a little hot under the collar, but it's because when I was a kid, Roselle was a really nice community, and I actually got an education there. Now I have no idea what's going on in this town, but thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening. My name is Anna Nike Graham-Pankey. Can you hear me? And I'm fairly new to Roselle. I've been here for over a year. I would like to say that I have 4 children in the schools of Roselle. And I have one of my children is in a gifted program. She will be going to one of the schools, which is LV Moore, which is overcrowded. And I don't know if you have kids, but the school is overcrowded already. There's about 32 children in the classroom. So when you have this development of a 900 unit, if everyone had 1 kid, that's 900 kids. You know, it's just a mathematical type of thing. Just pretend there's 1 kid in each household, that's 900 kids. My child that is gifted is already in a class that's like over full, and that means the trouble and all of the headaches that come from the noise, we can't fit in the room, the stress added to the teacher. I feel that is unfair to my child. You know, because I hear mind and body, and it's going to offer a class. It's only a preschool or kindergarten. Therefore, it's not doing anything for the middle school. It's not doing anything for the high school. Also, I do love Roselle, and I love Roselle, and I think that it could be a nice place. I don't like the fact that when I look across the street from where I stay, they have like all those little houses. Right behind me, there's an abandoned house. Around the corner from me, there's an abandoned house because I have daughters. When you have children, you know, abandoned houses can end up being squatters, drugs. Anything can happen, and then your child can be that child pulled into that home, and then you don't know. I know that I know that there's like a lot of, I feel like there's just like backhand deals. I don't know like all of the black and white, but I know common sense. You know, you have people that are business teachers, and you guys are very educated. We know math. We know the basic math. We know that if you have 35 million, there's no way that it should be at 110 million. We know that if we have just the same thing. You know, if you have $20 in your pocket and something costs $100 and you only have $20, we know that you do not have enough to get what you have to get. We know that if you keep and then if you decrease your money to $10 and now it's $200, we still know that we do not have enough. And so when you begin to read the plan and you begin to look at it, who's sitting down strategizing these plans? Why does it not make sense? It has to begin to make sense. And with everyone that is from Roselle, we just want to know what are the backhand deals? It has to be some type of backhand deals. Why can't it just be like, because when you read the paperwork, because it's on the paper, when you read the paperwork, it lets you know that there's like loopholes. And it's not supposed to be loopholes. It's not supposed to work like that. You know, I am one of the people who get out and actually put the little door, the what you call those little things when they say vote for me. It's me and my children that go out and try to support the candidates. When you guys are candidates, you know the little small people asking people to vote for you guys? I have me and my children out there putting the little door holders and the little signs up encouraging people to go to the polls and vote. So my voice counts. I have friends that I encourage to vote. We all know how it goes. We have social media. We encourage people to vote, and we do remember. Just like we get to know who said yes and we get to say who say no. You have to stand for what is right. You have to know how to do the right thing. Instead of just saying, okay, well, that's my homeboy or whatever, or I'm going to get this, and I'm going to have free access to this building. I live down the street from the building. That street that the building is on, the street is not even any good. The street is no good. The street is no good. It has no lines on the road. Guess what? It has no markings. I had to have a big discussion about that. There's not even lines on the road. And you're gonna have it right across the street from a little park that children play at? It's just an unsafe, everything about it is not good at all. That street, I had 2 car accidents in the same parking space because the cars fly up and down the road. The insurance company, Progressive, told me there's no lines on the road. They said no markings, correction, no markings. They went to Google Earth and said there were no markings. My vehicle was parked. My vehicle was parked. And they wanted to speed it twice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Linda Jenkins, Roselle. I'm not into politics. I'm more or less an activist. And I have a problem because I've been in Roselle my entire life. I'm not going to tell you my age, but it's been a long time. My mother bought a house on Frank Street 50 years ago. We just made selling it in December. And it's very offensive that a huddle house, a business, will come in not even a block away from where my little house that Jack built was 11.5 when we left in December. And these businesses are coming in at 4,000. That makes no sense to me. Poverty, people get money off of impoverished people, and I understand that. And I think that's very sad. The people in Roselle, they don't want to be that way. I moved to a building, I have a 1-bedroom, and I had to go to the landlord and go off because there are 5 to 6 people living in 1-bedrooms because they lost their homes in Roselle. That Mind and Body Center, that land on Chandler Avenue, when I was a kid, was given to Roselle for a school. How did it become somebody else's property that we have to buy all over again? That makes no sense to me. I just don't understand what's going on. I'm tired of people playing on impoverished peoples to get money, and then we don't see it. The impoverished don't see the money. We just being used to get the money. And that makes no sense to me. I just don't get it. That library, that land, like the lady said, years ago, there was a house there, it was tore down. What you need, you got a library there, build on it. No, they want to tear it down and put some more apartment buildings there for some school, for the schools aren't even enough. My mother's 86 years old. She graduated from Abraham Clark High School. The latest school that had any infrastructure done on it was Grace Wilday, and that was 60 years ago. That makes no sense. Everybody town is building schools. Roselle is building homes, and the people can't even afford to live in them. To me, that's moving backwards. That's not moving forward. I'm all for change, but change for the better, not change for the worse. That Mind and Body Center, Roselle is already paying a lease for that little dirty, nasty Shims Academy for people's children to go to. They're already paying a lease for, what is it, St. Joe's for kindergarten. Now we're going to pay for some land that was given to us years ago. We got to buy it all over again and pay $59 million. That's just the face value of it. We're not talking about the insurance, the nothing. That's just for the building. How about the little house that was next to it? Roselle's so stupid, they got to buy that all over again to use. I mean, this is backwards. Somebody's pockets is getting fat off of my impoverishment, and I don't think that's fair. And I think that's what everybody's problem is. You know, we don't want anybody to feel sorry for us. I work every day. Most of these people in here work every day or have. We don't want nobody to feel sorry, but we don't want nobody to kick us in the behind and take advantage of us. The roads are horrible. The roads are horrible. And you have a woman getting $500,000 for 5 years for free. I work for the state. Let me go out on administrative. Y'all gonna pay me $1 million? Heck no. No, you ain't gonna pay me that. You're gonna say, Melinda, get your little behind up out of here, or go back to Kane University and go to work. One or the other. But it's not fair to take advantage of people, because this is taking advantage. If you don't have no kids and don't care about nobody in the borough, you don't care what goes on in the borough. You don't care what goes on in the borough, and it's just not fair. What people, like I said, my mother bought that house 50 years ago. We just sold it by the skin of our teeth. And we was at 11.5 in December. And there here, a huddle house is going to come where it wouldn't take me but 2 minutes to walk to, and they're going to pay $4,000 a year. That hurts. That hurts. That's disrespectful. You know, I just hope that you listen to the people. I'm not begging, but I'm saying just have a heart. Think about the people that live there, that want to live there. Roselle was a village when I grew up. I don't even know the people there anymore. There's houses being put up that never had houses on them in over 50 years. Now there's houses in places, little $5 Matchbox houses. Where are these children going to go to school? I don't think most people would care too much, would be complaining so much if we had a school for our children. If we was paying taxes for a school, I wouldn't be upset, because I have a passion for children. My passion is children, not politics.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill Fisher, Roselle, New Jersey. It's getting to be like a regular Roselle Council meeting, isn't it, Mayor? I just want to have a few comments. Most of the financing and the economics of this project has been already talked about. But I just want to bring up the fact that, according to the Star Ledger, Roselle has the 6th highest taxes in the state in relation to the average income. We're paying about $10,000. The average income is $43,000. We pay a lot. People pay a lot of tax for what the average income is. This year, my taxes went up 4%. If you have the increase for the Mind and Body Center included, it'd be another 4%. That's an 8% tax increase the first year that we get hit with the taxes for the Mind and Body Center. There's a better way I think we can do this and still serve the residents of Roselle. The land next to the current library was bought so an addition could be put on the library. I don't know why that still can't happen. The library's in pretty good shape. The complex has a basketball court. Why can't the schools be opened up so the kids can play basketball there and other recreational activities? Let's see, it's supposed to have a recording studio. Now, why can't they have a recording studio added on to the high school so the students can make it part of their curriculum? As far as the pool is concerned, it was never asked if the residents want a pool or not, and I don't think many people will be joining, to tell the truth. Let's see. In all, the complex is a project Roselle can ill afford. The county's approval of this money for this project would be financially foolhardy, and I think an insult to the taxpayers of Roselle. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, freeholders. My name is Brandon Bernier. I'm born and raised in Roselle, New Jersey. I wanted to start with a quick story. I wish Freeholder Mirabella was here. When I was 11 years old, I attended something in Washington, D.C. called the Junior National Youth Leadership Conference in 2003. And when I got home, I got a letter from Freeholder Mirabella. It's still on my wall, actually. And he congratulated me, thanked me for taking a step to promote unity throughout America. Now, an 11-year-old, I went on a week-long trip. I think that was a bit lofty. But right now, what I'd like to say is I'm starting, hopefully, with Roselle and these folks behind me. I want to put some of these facts and figures in context a little bit for you. We've talked about this $43,000 median household income in Roselle. And a lot of people have come up to this mic in the past over the years to, get your approval on this project. They've said, why doesn't Roselle get the things that, Cranford, Kenilworth, Linden, Rahway, Elizabeth, why don't we get the things they have? Why don't we deserve the things they have? The median household income in Cranford is well over $100,000. It's not a matter of what we deserve, it's a matter of what we can afford. This project was presented 2011. The numbers we had on file then, the Census Bureau in 2010, the median household income in Roselle was around $58,000. In 5 years, we saw our income drop 25%. At some point, someone needs to step back and think, maybe we need to rethink this. When new figures are out, maybe we need to take those into account and realize, the actual impact this is going to have on people. Another figure that hasn't been mentioned tonight, 14.6% of people in Roselle are in poverty, legitimate poverty, not just, low incomes, but below the federal poverty line, 14.6% of people. $40 million of debt in Roselle the borough has already. Our cap is $48 million. If we only have $8 million left on our debt cap, the borough portion of this is $35 million on this bond. There's a reason the state puts a cap in place. Just because we're calling this a lease, it's essentially still going to be Roselle's debt. You said it yourself, Roselle is likely going to have to foot the bill for this no matter what. I get up every month, just last night at our council meeting, and I asked them for the numbers. What's going to be the cost to operate this? How are we moving forward with the project when my own council can't tell me a single estimate on what it's going to cost to operate this facility, what it's going to cost to insure the pool? That's an astronomical figure. There are plenty of community centers all across this county that they can go and get these figures from. Give me the numbers on what we're going to charge people to use these services. Cranford has a great example. They never come back with those numbers for me. They don't answer a single question that I ask. I apologize to you all that I wasn't here a year ago. I was still away at college, actually. But what I can say about a year ago when you actually approved the guarantee the first time is that you were hoodwinked. People got up to this microphone and they told you money was just being moved around and somehow we weren't going to have to pay these astronomical tax increases. They said, we already lease space, Shim's Academy, St. Joe's. We pay about $600,000, the Board of Ed does, right now for those buildings. And they said, we're just going to move this money over to pay this lease. Well, this lease is 2 to 3 times more than that. So we're not just moving money, we're moving money and then increasing it by astronomical figures. You were told we were taking our garbage in-house a year ago. We actually took it in-house in 2013. A year ago was 2 or 3 years after the fact when we were already on paper losing $500,000 to $600,000 in our DPW budget because we decided to take our garbage collection in-house rather than the company that was privately doing it in the past. If someone sat down and looked at those numbers, they knew we went from a DPW staff of about 15 to 60. Tons more money was being spent. And I have 2 things for you. You don't go out and buy a Cadillac when you get laid off. These numbers changed. And the other thing is your role in this project right now is the captain of the Titanic. But the Titanic didn't have to sink. The captain was given a report that said there are icebergs out there. And he said, let's go full steam ahead anyways. So, you have these numbers in front of you, and what I'm asking you to do is take a look at them and decide maybe we need to slow down. Because Roselle, our council, is not the leadership that we need right now. So we're asking you to be the captain of this project, to look at the iceberg report and say, hold on a minute, these numbers changed in the last few years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lorraine Brooks Body. I live on Harrison Avenue, which is a direct run to the center. It is like the bumpiest road in Roselle to go down. Originally, that property, I've been in Roselle ever since '62. That property was originally slated for a high school. And the reason it wasn't built back in the '60s because it was in the black community. So therefore, it was put on hold all these years. I am 3 years away from retirement. I pay $15,000 property tax. This really saddens me that this project might take place. I just got my tax bill and it's increased. And in my situation, it was 3 people. All of you know, Larry Body was my husband, so that's 1 salary lost. My mother died in January, that's another one. So now it's on me. I don't want to go to the mind and body because I already belong to the Y. I'm 3 years away from retirement. My salary is not going to increase when I stop working for Wakefern. It is what it is. Anytime you ask a council person the real numbers, I was told you can't believe what you read in the paper. That's so unfair, because I'm not ignorant. I just want you to be real. I love my town. I love what you guys did to One Acre Park. It is the best thing. I go there every morning, and I'm very pleased with what you've done. But it's so unfair to lie to us as residents. There's one of those little matchbox houses that's in my block, and it was sold. And I know they got a 5-year tax abatement, and I know those same abatements happened in Elizabeth, and once the 5-year abatement was over, people lost their homes because they couldn't afford to pay their mortgage. We promised that company, it's based on sales. They opened this business on St. George Avenue, sales don't come. Hey, they're gonna close. What do? What relationship did we build with businesses to say that they're gonna make so much money based on the population? And I worked in site development for Wakefern for 6 years, so I understand planning, I understand site development, and I know, the available income that people have. But I have a problem with people that we vote because we believe in them, that they lie to us. They lie to us. It's so unfair. I love my town. I love Union County. But will I have to move in 3 years? Because my income is not going to increase. And I struggle now. When I got that tax bill a couple weeks ago, and it was late because I can't budget for a year, I budget for the quarter of the year, and then a tax bill comes in and there's another increase. That is so unfair. I should know in the beginning of the year that I'm going to have to budget every month to pay this. Apartments in Roselle, 1 bedroom, $1,800. Okay, I need to stay in my home because I don't have a mortgage, but I'm paying this property tax. But my street is raggedy. So you're going to build a mind and body, and my street is raggedy. And I just want to clarify something. Some people get up here and say Roselle's failing in education. I was on the Board of Ed. I do Student of the Month. All these kids, they receive a certificate because they were nominated. At the end of the year, for 15 years, Larry and I had done Breakfast of Champions. 145 kids make the honor roll every marking period. At the end of the year, we have a breakfast. In the last 6 years, we've been having it at Kane with their parents. That's 500 people that we service. The other thing that nobody talks about, every year Roselle sends kids down to Johns Hopkins, 30-something kids. So I'm here to say that it's not really failing. We just don't talk about the kids that are doing well. I know who they are. I see their parents. I'm at the spelling bee. I'm at, Student of the Month. And Breakfast of the Champions, I've never seen so many parents so proud that their kid is going to get the certificate. Assemblywoman Keano is there every single year giving out those certificates and those medals. And they walk out of that room with a smile, and they are proud that they live in Roselle, that their kids came through that system. So I'm here to squash that, because Roselle's not failing every student. And based on the ones that I come in contact with, we're doing good. But it saddens me, 3 years away from retirement, that I might have to sell my house. Thank you.
Anyone else who wishes to comment, please come forward.
Hi, my name is Donna Heron. I'm from Cranford. I don't know where he is, but I don't make $106,000.
Please speak into the mic.
Yeah, I don't make $106,000. I heard your opening statement about the possibility of other county municipalities having to foot the bill, and that's not why I'm here. Probably 70% of the towns in Union County can afford to foot a bill. I'm here for the people of Roselle. I was born and raised in Roselle. Even though I live in Cranford, when someone asks me where I live, I say Cranford, but I'm from Roselle. I always put the but, I'm from Roselle, because that's where I was born and raised there. I went to school there. I went to a Catholic school. That was my mother's prerogative. But it was a wonderful community. The people were always nice. They still are nice. I'm listening to them. But they cannot afford this. I still have friends, parents of girls that I went to high school with, whose parents are in Roselle. They're in their 80s and 90s. They can't afford this. They cannot afford it. So the problem is not whether Roselle is going or could default. I think they will. I think they will default. And then you're going to have Cranford people and Westfield people here screaming at you. That's not my problem. They can afford it. If they scream and yell, that's great, but they can afford it. But the people of Roselle cannot afford this. You people have to look at this and see, and it's not, you can't take it as, oh, it's going to be bad for the freeholders to do that. No, it's not. It's not going to be bad. It's going to be that you are taking care of the people in the county. Something was done, and it can be undone. It's not at that point where it cannot be undone. And they do need a high school. They definitely need a high school. But what I'm saying here is, I have no vested interest. I don't live in Roselle anymore. But I do, spiritually, I guess, that Roselle is still my town. So I don't want to see it go to ruination. And it looks, and from listening, I waited for everybody from Roselle to speak first. And I listened to these people, and I could cry for that person crying. And I just would like you to think about it, please.
Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening. Renee Smith, Roselle, New Jersey. And I'm pulling up the rear. I know that it's been a long night. You've heard a lot of comments and commentary on the mind and body, but there's just a few things. I'm one of the parents. I'm a very involved parent. I'm involved with the community. But one thing I want to say is that as far as the mind and body, I think we just need to take a step back. We're not saying that we don't want a facility, a rec center. What we're saying, just take a few minutes and just step back from the project and just make sure that it makes sense. Make sure that it makes sense to move forward. I've been on the parent-teacher group. My children are in the Roselle Public School System. I'm a president of the parent-teacher group, and right now my son is in the middle school, and that's LV Moore. And for years, we've been asking, and I've been asking, even when they started the golf course project, I sent an email stating, how are we going to house the children that are coming, that are going to potentially come from this units? I have not gotten an answer yet. I think I've gotten 90. I have a math degree, and one of the things I know is that if you have 900 units, and I think someone brought that up, if you have 900 units and you even have one child being born, just one in each unit, we're going to be over the limit. We're already overcrowded. We have 425 children in LV Moore students right now. That building was built to accommodate 250. We're twice that number of students there. We are moving teachers and students into labs, libraries. We used to have a library there. The books are now in the hallway. I went to the library that they were going to redo. I got furniture donated to the school. The library that we're supposed to go, the furniture is supposed to go there is in the hallway. The students don't have a library because now we have converted those to classrooms. It's bursting at the seams. So something that we're looking to do, the mind and body, great, we need a rec center, but we need school before we get to that point. We need a new high school. You know, these are things that we need. We need to take care of those things first before we get to play. You gotta work, and then we get to play. I think we're putting the cart before the horse. Some things it's just not adding up. The numbers, a lot of numbers have been thrown around, and I don't think that we're getting everything correct. And I know you're tired, and you're probably like, I do not want to hear another thing about this mind body. I can see it on your faces, but I really would just encourage you to just take a minute, just step back for a minute, and just take a look at what we're saying. We are concerned citizens. We are paying through our noses. It's going to be astronomical. It's just going to be a burden for us. And I don't mind an increase in my taxes if I'm getting a school. I'm all for school. I'm all for literacy. I'm all for the education. I'm right there. I'm in education, a school. You could give me a school, a high school, an elementary school, a kindergarten. I'm in. I won't even blink an eye if you were to go. I'm not saying we're not trying. We don't want to increase, but I'm saying if that's what we're getting it for, I'm okay. This, not okay. Not right now. We can't afford this. We really can't afford this. This is something that is detrimental. We've been crying, and we're not getting the answers that we need from the town. We're not getting the right answers. It's just not making sense. The numbers are not adding up. So I just ask you, as I'm pulling up the rear, I don't know if anybody else is coming behind me, but I'm just asking you, please take a minute, stop, and listen to what we're saying, and if it moves you enough, just say stop. Let's not go forward until it makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please step forward. Seeing no one else?
Good evening, Chair Bergen, ladies and gentlemen, the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson, guard with time. Now, well, first, I'd like, I've been coming to these meetings, I don't know, 15 years, just to throw out a number, but, and Frank Guzzo, I do admire him because when he comes to the microphone, his voice and his sentiments are always full of empathy and dedication, to the people of the county. Maybe I don't see eye to eye of things, but I have to admit he is dedicated and he is empathetic to the needs of the people. So, I mean, at that point, I do thank him and wish him well for his future. A couple of things that, the people of Roselle came well versed in the issues that they are facing. I mean, people are throwing out numbers and such, and one person, Sylvia Turnage, I mean, obviously every once in a while somebody starts connecting dots. And Ms. Turnage obviously is doing that. I mean, the watchdogs have been doing it for years with the county. They have a website where you can see exactly all the dots that are being connected. And most of them are, yes, affected by these same people that are now involved in the mind and body. I listen to Sylvia Turnage, and I can only say, amen, I understand. Things you started off saying about threats, under threats. But, everybody is always under a threat. Whatever they do, every government action or something is always under a threat. And you're saying you're not going to respond because you're under a threat. Is there something tangible that you have that you can actually say, yes, I have a letter, it's threatening litigation? I mean, unless that's just something
we have a letter threatening litigation.
Okay, so I can Oprah it, in other words. Can I Oprah it?
I'm not giving you legal advice.
Okay, I'll send it in, and I'll take a look. Okay. Yeah, another thing is the UCIA and this $59 million bond that's going to go through the UCIA, and the bonding capacity, and I'm sure Director Taylor can certainly agree to this. I mean, a bonding capacity is there for a certain reason, that you really can't push above that number because the stress, the financial stress that's induced on the people to pay these taxes is a great stress, especially when you go up to the top of the bonding capacity. A gentleman said $48 million, I guess Roselle has a bonding cap, and right now they're at $40 million, and now you're going to go through the UCIA to circumvent this bonding cap. Yes, the UCIA is there maybe to help out in low interest rates for large projects. You've done, you have agreed with that many times, and I've attended meetings where you talk about it. But to actually double the bonding cap, or I'm not saying you're doubling it, but in essence you're doubling it because you're still making Roselle pay for the service of that, and you're doubling the cap therefore, and that the sixth worst town stress-wise versus income in the state. I mean, these are numbers. These people have done their homework. They understand the stress they're under. You know, I live in Garwood. We're kind of like high tax, and just to throw out, I mean, you know, our borough tax was $65. Our Board of Ed was around $69, and the county was $133. You know, twice as much. And like, you know, I scratch my head on that, and I really want to know why. All of a sudden, you know, the borough and the muni, I don't know. It's just the county seems to be out of control. This is an instance. I mean, these people are here, and they're crying. They're actually crying. I go through Roselle. I actually go out of the way many times to drive through Roselle because the houses are beautiful. I mean, they're architecturally beautiful and they're quaint. I don't know how many people, maybe during your campaigns, you've gone into Roselle. But I'll tell you, I like driving through that town. And sadly, I mean, they're talking about houses being foreclosed, houses being abandoned. I have a Cold War banker friend. I mean, in essence, it's about 25% of the town is either underwater, foreclosed, or abandoned. Tell me that's not stressful on these people. And yet you're going to be voting on something that's now going to be pushing another $500, $600, $700 of tax impact on top of them. You know, and you're saying, oh, well, a town has never defaulted. Well, guess what? This could be the first time. And in the meantime, as you're leading up to whatever this inflection point is, these people...
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, John Berry, a Kenilworth guy. And just following up on Mr. Patterson, again, I wish Frank Guzzo well. I haven't looked deeply into human services, but he's always been professional when he answered questions up here, so I wish him well. Just to clarify some points while everybody was talking, I made a couple of notes. First, why isn't Roselle getting any open space trust fund money? Nobody these days is getting any open space trust fund money. That money is being used for the county to pay their budget based on a 2011 memo from a lawyer who said you could use it to pay your parks people. So that's what they've been doing one way or the other. So nobody's getting that. And the idea of threatening people that they won't vote for you, I mean, does that mean 80% in Roselle instead of 90%? I mean, that's just silly. I mean, the threat here is if it goes bankrupt, which presumably is the only way these bonds will default and the county will pay, if Roselle goes bankrupt. Now, no city, no municipality in New Jersey has ever gone bankrupt, but there have been bankruptcies and New Jersey allows them. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, on account of their incinerator. Jefferson County, Alabama, on account of their sewer system. Other cities that have been hard hit. Flint built Auto World, closed in 6 months, and they've been battered since. And closer to home, even Linden built their library through the UCIA, and they didn't buy a new book for like 6 months, and now it's hours are cut back because they're still trying to pay. I don't know how detailed on how bad they are financially, but Roselle has debt of $37 million according to their statement, their 12/31/16 debt statement. $59 million, and this remember is going through the UCIA, which also where the Cherry Street courthouse also went through and got another $8 million. Well, that's a whole long story. And also another UCIA project is a renewable energy thing where the bonds defaulted and stuff like that. This is going through UCIA, so 90 million might be a good project if it does go forward. So the thing is, if Roselle becomes the first city in New Jersey to go bankrupt, somebody will probably be looking at why. And they'll look at this project, they'll look at all the other building projects where you had mass construction, Netta Architects, Dakotas, I don't know if they're still involved, and Devaney on this one. They'll see these people who are actually funneling campaign cash, one way or the other, they're your biggest donors, and you're using Roselle people to give them the money to be able to make your contributions. So those points I just wanted to bring up, and again, good luck to Frank Guzzo in retirement. That pension probably has about 2 or 3 years left, but after that, it's gone too.
Oh, boy, bad news. Thank you. The pension is only good for 3 more years.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the Freeholder Board on any issue this evening? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the meeting and move on to Freeholder reports and comments. Freeholder Estrada asked me to start at the other end, so Freeholder Wright.
That was it.
Don't start at the
No,
left.
no, I was over here. You the right or the left? I don't know.
We're starting on the younger side of the room, that's what it is. We're starting with the younger people today, that's it.
Why don't you go ahead if you have?
Okay.
My fault.
Just
Go ahead, Bryce.
Okay, let's go for it. Just want to thank all the residents who are here today speaking. This isn't a laughing matter, and something that we take very seriously, and we do listen to every single one's concerns, and something where there can be 40 people here, 60 people, 80 people here. Every single resident's concerns are listened to by this Freeholder Board, who takes everything into account when making any decision that affects the residents of Union County. Just want to make sure that's that too. Also, I just want to make sure residents are aware that we're going to be hosting a Family Pride Community Picnic on Saturday, September 16th at the Rahway River Park in Rahway from 12 noon until 5 p.m. Our previous one got rained out, but was going to be with an amazing turnout of both community organizations and residents. So we look forward to this one even being double the size in attendance, and making sure we come together as a community and bring advocates, allies, and families of the LGBTQ community together to celebrate individually and raise awareness for the need to meet the equality challenges of the LGBTQ community. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Freeholder Wright.
Thank you. I'm reminding residents with permanent physical disabilities that they may qualify for the Personal Assistance Services Program. This is a statewide program designed to foster independent living and help disabled individuals in our communities reach their full potential. The program provides funding to help with the essential tasks of daily living, like dressing, bathing, laundry, bill paying, shopping, and more. To be eligible for this program, you must live in Union County, be between the ages of 18 and 70, and be capable of self-direction for needed services. You must also be employed, enrolled in post-secondary training, or engaged in volunteer work for at least 20 hours per month. For more information on the Personal Assistance Service Program and other resources, please contact the Union County Department of Human Services, Office for the Disabled at 908-527-4845.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Kowalski.
Thank you, Chairman. And I also want to thank everyone for coming. We have listened carefully. We can't comment now, but we have heard you, and well, that's all I can say. So, there's been some talk about voting tonight, and our Union County clerk asked me to pass along some information to you. about voting by mail. The vote by mail ballots are available now. You can download one from the county clerk's office online, or you can call or email the office to have one sent to you. For young people especially, if you're going away to college, it's a good idea to fill out your application and submit it to the county clerk's office now before you head off to campus. I can't tell you how often I get phone calls from parents of young people who say, oh, well, they're in this state, they're in that state, can we get things to them on time? But, you know, you mail it to their campus, and then it might sit in their campus mail room for a while. So really best for everybody to do it early. If you apply for the ballot now, you should receive your ballot in late September after the application is approved. So that would give you plenty of time to fill out the ballot, put it in the mail, and make sure that your vote is counted. So remember, any registered New Jersey voter can vote by mail for any reason. It used to be that you had to have some kind of health reason, but you don't need any specific reason now. If you want to vote by mail, you can do it. So for more information, you can call the Clerk's Elections Division, and the number is 908-527-4996. That's 527-4996. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Carter.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd also like to thank everyone who came to the microphone, and we do listen to what is said by every week that we meet, and you have an opportunity to speak. So thank you for coming to the microphone. We've had a great summer. It's coming to a close. A couple of weeks. A lot of students will be going back to school, wishing them well, wishing them to have a successful school year. But there's been a lot of activities that we've done around the county parks, and you still have one last chance to enjoy our summer art series of free outdoor concerts. Our final concert will be New York State of Mind, a tribute to Billy Joel, next Wednesday, August the 23rd at Oak Ridge Park in Clark. We also have some new programs coming up. On August 23rd, also, we are hosting our first networking mixer for military personnel and service providers in the clubhouse at the Galloping Hill Golf Course in Kenilworth. In September, we're hosting our first camping trip for veterans and their families at the Watchung Reservation, and Rawway River Park in Rawway will be the venue for our first Family Pride Community Picnic in celebration of marriage equality throughout New Jersey. And as Vice Chairman said earlier, that is one that was rescheduled. So please just make sure that we support everything that we have going on around in the county. Also in September, our Union County Means Business Expo will be held at the new Warrenaco Sports Center in Warrenaco Park for the first time. Our longtime favorite fall activities are also returning, including 4 Centuries in a Weekend, Harvest Festival, and the Pumpkin Sale, and much more. You can follow Union County on Facebook or check our website at ucnj.org for more details about all of the fall programming and everything we have coming up. So please spread our website to, on that social media, ucnj.org. Go out there and make sure you see what's going on around the county right there in, in your neighborhoods too. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Estrada.
Thank you. Now, about the left and the right, never mind. First of all, I want to thank the neighbors from Roselle for being here. I see many faces that I have seen over the many, many years that I've served. I have appreciated very much your support that you have given me for many, many years. I know that we're in certain restraints and to speak about this issue, and I will just say that it requires people like you to make changes in this world, and what will happen, we don't know, but the reality is that this is a great step on being out here tonight and expressing your opinions. I think that sometimes we need to listen and hear from the actual individuals who are impacted, and that's something that I think that when I look and listen to the people that were speaking this evening, gave us, I'm sure myself and many of my colleagues, a lot of things to think about. So hopefully only time will tell, and we'll see which direction we head. I wanted to talk a little bit about Frank Guzzo, who is still sitting back in the back. And I just wanted to say, Frank, that I didn't want to speak too much earlier, even though I did speak a lot. But I know that in life we must move on. That's just part of the things are. I mean, the day that I retired from work, it wasn't a happier. Think of happiness, but in the reality is you think about all the people that you impacted in this many years, and I can truly tell you that to find somebody similar to you is going to be very, very difficult. I know you're a person who cares, and over the years you have shown that you care for everybody equally, which is very important, because that's one of, if you remember earlier today, I made a mention about that the union, the CWA, the union group that represents in human services, must be very happy that finally got a contract in place and everything else. I know that that's something that you had a lot to do with. And I know over the years, every time that we have had negotiations, if anything, I can truly say that respect was actually what you brought to the table in terms for the employees and for the county. And striking balances is where today we find that it's the most difficult part of our everyday lives. So I don't want to bore you, Frank, but always, always wishing you the best. And this is only the beginning. Don't forget, I'm retired also, so call me in the morning, we can get together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Freeholder. County Council, any comments?
Just very briefly, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Certainly the recognition and tributes that were paid tonight by the board and by a number of individuals this evening to Frank for his 42-plus years of service were very well deserved. Anyone who has met Frank, anyone who has worked with him, certainly myself included, cannot help but admire his very deep commitment and compassion for those, his perseverance and dedication for those who are in need, especially the most needy. It's something I will always think of when I think of Frank, and hopefully I'll think of him at times when I'll be seeing him in the future. But I want to wish him all the best in whatever endeavors he chooses to go on. I know he'll be busy, whatever it is. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. County Manager?
I usually don't say much. It's probably good. It's probably a good thing. But I'm going to say a few things tonight. First of all, pride comes to my mind. Pride for an individual like Frank Guzzo, who served the county for 42 years, and for all he's done and contributed to the residents, and to you for coming out. This is a true democracy, to be able to do this, especially when there are those who are trying to deny some of those basic freedoms. What you did today was very commendable and very admirable, and really what democracy is all about. And I can assure you, because I report to this board, that they do listen to you, and they do listen to me, and they do listen to people. And I have to tell you. And we're not allowed to comment, so I won't, but nobody said I couldn't write down your comments, so I did. Okay? Thank you all for coming, and have a good evening.
Thank you. And I'm going to be repeating, but it bears repeating. Thank you all for being here. We do appreciate you coming out. We do listen to your comments, and we do hear you. I do want to touch a little briefly on something we touched on earlier, and that's the tragic event that took place in Charlottesville this past weekend. In response to that event, former President Obama put it in perspective when he tweeted, "No one is born hating another person because of the color of their skin or his background or his religion." I'm told that this became the most liked tweet in the history of Twitter, and rightfully so. I think we all need to offer our condolences to the family of Heather Heyer, who was murdered for standing up to racism. With this in mind, Union County remains resolute in standing together against racial bigotry, religious prosecution, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, or any other form of hatred. A few months back, I reported that I had the opportunity to attend an event held by the Union County Interfaith Coordinating Council, which was held to help fight Islamophobia. And one of the things that they did at that function was to recite a pledge called Stand Up for the Other Pledge, which has been taken by the New Jersey State Senate and the Assembly, among many other organizations. It's a pledge against racism and religious intolerance, and to speak out against it. I've had the opportunity to arrange for Dr. Muhammad Ali Chaudhry, who created it, to come to be with this board at our first meeting, our regular meeting in September, and this board will be presenting that pledge to the public. So hopefully people will be here to join with us in taking that pledge at that time. I also want to note briefly, in case you haven't heard, on Monday there's going to be a solar eclipse. It's the first coast-to-coast solar eclipse in nearly 100 years. Unfortunately, New Jersey's not quite in the path of the full solar eclipse, but we'll get about a 3/4 eclipse, and that'll be right around 1:22 on Monday afternoon, and they're saying the weather's going to be clear. So there will be lots of viewing parties around. The county is having one up at Trailside Nature and Science Center in Mountainside, which will run from noon to 3 o'clock. It's being run by the amateur astronomers, and there will be viewing glasses available. So please take advantage of one of those opportunities to see what's a unique event here in New Jersey. Once again, thank you all for coming, and may I please have a motion to adjourn? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.